So I'm going to give you some of the best diet advice that I can possibly give in the next 10 minutes or so. And I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. Um, Motivation has been one of the difficult things I've dealt with, especially when it comes to making these videos. So I just pressed the record button and here we go. Now, when it comes to dieting, I guess you could consider me an expert. I don't have a college degree on it, and I'm certainly not a dietitian, but I've been heavy since I was in school, grade school. In fact, I remember a friend of mine and myself, we were both the chubby boys in school. We weren't fat. We were just, heavier than most. And back then, in the 70s, there weren't quite as many individuals who were chubby, so you stood out. But I always thought it was funny because the front of our shirts and the belly was always dirty because we were always, pulling our shirt out trying to make it look a little better. But it started back then. My my mother and my sisters were both healthy. My father certainly was healthy and trim, and it was difficult because I wanted to be the same way, but I also had some bad habits when it came to the way that I ate. I enjoyed probably the ice cream and the cookies and the cake, and I probably overate. We ate good meals. I mean, we had the family meals. There was always meat and vegetables on the table. It was good. But for some reason or another, I found that it was easy for me to gain weight, and it was something that I did for the majority of my life. I'm 58 now, and aside from a few years when I was maybe in my late teens and into my early 20s, I've had a problem with my weight. Of course, it got worse when COVID hit. Like many people, I put on some weight during the pandemic, and for me, it was more than just a few pounds. I went up about probably 40 pounds, and it just stuck around. So I've been dealing with that extra weight even now for a few more years. And I've tried probably every diet that you could imagine. I've done low carb. What was the Atkins diet? Probably when I tried it. I did the rice diet, Walter Kepner's The Rice Diet, and that's a diet that's just white rice, white sugar, and fruit. Yeah, a little bit crazy, but it was made for people with hypertension back in the early 1900s and like end stage kidney failure, those sort of serious problems. Another thing that I did was I fasted. I did that was what was the lemonade diet. So for 10 days, the only thing I had was water with lemon juice squeezed into it and cayenne pepper and maple syrup, organic maple syrup. And I did that for 10 days. You do a saltwater flush every morning and you drink some special tea in the evening to help you, go to the bathroom. And let me see, what else did I do? I've done the carnivore diet. I like the carnivore diet. I mean, I enjoy eating steak, and I did that for several weeks and, gave it a fair shot. I've done vegetarian. My wife and I went to a dietitian, and we were put on kind of an elimination diet. It was a very, very strict. There was, no sugar, nothing out of a box or a can, no red meat, no pork, no wheat, oats, or barley. So it was restrictive, but I was on that for several months before I came off of it. And there's something that I learned about all of these diets that I've tried over the years, and that's the fact that they all work. Some of them were more restrictive than others, but I lost weight on each and every one of them. But the problem was is they were unsustainable, at least for me. I know that there's people who, live their lives as vegetarians or carnivores or, do keto or low carb, for their entire life, and they've done it for years. And that's good. I'm happy for them. But for me, I needed more of a balance and maybe even a little bit off balance. But I just couldn't figure it out. And two, there were other problems that you probably have dealt with when you tried a new diet, and that's the advice that you get from other people. So if you decide, well, I'm going to do low carb, people are going to tell you, no, you can't do that. You have to eat your spinach. You have to eat your kale. You have to do smoothies. You have to have fruit in your diet. If you were doing vegetarian, then people would tell you that you have to eat meat to be healthy. And it wasn't that it wasn't good advice. I mean, it was well meant. It was good advice, and everybody has an opinion on the subject. That's for sure. But the problem is that it would derail progress very quickly. When you tell somebody that you're going to do something in particular to lose weight, they're going to give you an opinion that's different in some way or another. And it can derail you, especially if you're in the very beginning of trying to lose weight. I know that when now I've been on this AI inspired calorie counting diet for, well, this is my 12th week, and I'm loving it. And right now the proof is in the pudding, or well, kind of in the Coke and the candy, that I'm still able to enjoy, within reason. And I've been losing weight. But when I first started, and I tell somebody, well, I'm going to count calories, they'd tell me, well, a calorie is not a calorie, and calories in sugar matter differently than calories in meat and protein, and that was, I basically had to kind of shut all that off. In fact, I only told a few people, I'd say probably 5 or 6 people, that I was even trying a diet in the first place. Partly because I had tried so many diets, and I had been on so many diets over the past 3, 4, 5 years or more, that people were tired of hearing about it, and I don't blame them. I mean, I'd have good intentions, and I'd research and look up all the information that I could find on the subject. But, well, like many people, I'd try something new and it wouldn't work out, and I'd get frustrated and end up just kind of falling off the wagon, and I'd never get back on that wagon again. Or if I did, like the carnivore diet is a good example. I enjoyed the carnivore diet. I did. I liked eating steak and burgers. That's basically what I ate when I was on the carnivore diet. I had some eggs too, and cheese. I was able to eat cheese. I could handle that. But after I was on it for about a week and a half, I noticed that my breathing had gotten so much better. And I was running up and down stairs and doing things that I haven't done in 10 or 15 years and feeling really good. But I only lasted on that diet for, a few weeks before I think what happened was I took a weekend off. We had gone to visit some friends, and I knew that they were, well, she's a good cook, and I knew that we were going to be, eating some good stuff, and I decided to take the weekend off. I just never got back on it again. And then I tried the carnivore diet again, but I couldn't stay on it for more than a week or so. And sometimes, I'd try it for a day or two, and I'd just completely fall off the wagon. So As good as that one made me feel, um, it didn't stick to it. But when I used AI and I plugged in the things that I wanted from a diet, I wanted something that was going to be sustainable. I wanted something that would allow for some flexibility in my diet. I enjoy drinking Coke. That's I keep going back to that, but that's something that I do every day. And let's face it, you can't drink Coke on every diet. It's just not going to work. But I wanted something that would allow me to drink Coke and would allow me to, have a sweet on occasion and enjoy those things and not just completely blow the diet at the same time. For example, I think I started the diet in the middle of May. Rather, I don't remember the exact date. I think it was May 12th. But my 25th wedding anniversary was May 31st. And some friends were taking us out to a really nice restaurant. I didn't want to, 2 to 3 weeks into my diet, all of a sudden have to say, well, I can't do this because, I'm dieting. And, 25 years is, it's a big deal, 25th wedding anniversary. So I went out, I enjoyed it. I had fish and chips, I had a drink, and I had a Coke also to drink. We split a big hot fudge sundae or something like that. I don't know, the thing was huge. And they brought it out to the table and we split that a few ways. And it was nice. I went over my calories. I think I had close to maybe 2,500 or 2,700 that day, if I remember right. But this diet that I'm on isn't about winning or losing every day, and that's really what I needed because um, if I have a bad day and I eat a little bit more than I know that I should, because I track everything, I weigh all my food, I track everything that I eat, and I didn't want a so-called, well, we'll call it a bad day, to cause me to quit altogether, because I knew that having a bad day followed by maybe two fairly decent days or three fairly decent days would average out, because the amount of calories that I was burning, which was, I think it's around 2,700 calories a day is what I burn. But I try to eat 1,500 calories a day. So when I started, I was losing a lot more weight. You burn fewer calories as you lose weight. So I'm down about close to 30 pounds now. But I wanted a plan that would allow me to have some flexibility. So rather than counting my daily calories, I counted by the week, 10,500 calories a week. If I wanted to, I mean, it's about the long-term win. It's a long-term goal. If, let's say, I was going to some friend's house next weekend and I knew that I was going to be eating a lot of food and, having some drinks and so forth, a lot of calories, I could actually lower my calories in the maybe week to 10 days coming up to that day, and then I could just go ahead and go for it, that weekend, and enjoy myself guilt free. I wouldn't have to think, oh, I just blew my diet, or it's time to give up. I just feel like giving up. That's not how it works. It's 10,500 calories a week. I've been over, I think this is my 12th week, so 11 full weeks, and I think I've been over on that 10,500 by 500 calories, 1,000 calories, something like that, almost every week. There's been a couple weeks where I was under. I think one week I was at 1,300 and some calories, but I think I was also sick that week, so there was a couple of days where I really didn't eat. But anyway, it's working. But you're still going to get that diet advice. Even if you've been on this diet for 6 months and you've dropped 80 pounds, well, that's pretty aggressive, but let's say you drop 50 pounds in 6 months, and you tell somebody, oh yeah, I eat chicken nuggets every day, they're going to say, well, you can't eat chicken nuggets and lose weight. Well, let me tell you, you can eat chicken. I eat chicken nuggets almost every day, and sometimes a couple times a day, and I lose weight. I consistently lose weight. So you got to do what's right for you. Maybe this diet isn't the perfect diet for you. Maybe you would do better on low carb or vegetarian or uh, Weight Watchers or something like that. But when you really do the math, it all comes down to calories. That's the magic number. The calorie is the magic number, and it may not even be a perfect system. Like because we're kind of going on what science has to tell us about calories, and we know that science is something that changes over time. But it's the best that we have right now to go with. So I know about how many calories I burn per day. I know about how many calories I eat per day. If I try to keep it about 1,000 calories under that, then I lose a couple pounds a week. And you know what? I lose a couple pounds a week. And it doesn't matter what I eat. I could eat 10,500 calories one week worth of chocolate and soda and Twinkies and McDonald's. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not going to be the healthiest. Don't get me wrong. That's not the healthiest choice to make. But the thing is that if you're eating that amount of calories and you're burning more calories, you're going to end up losing weight. So anyway, this really didn't start out to be a rant over diet and weight loss. I mean, I kind of wanted to talk about a lot of different things, but I've gone on long enough about this. Let me just say that if you're in a position where you've been heavy for the majority of your life and you'd like to give something a try that gives you that flexibility, that has science behind it, and that really works, well, then CICO, calories in, calories out, is something to consider. It gives you the flexibility to eat what you want. You don't have to have not every day has to be a win or a lose. It's just you need to balance things out over time. You need to keep track. You need to be honest with yourself. I could mark down 100 calories when I actually eat 150, but I'm not fooling anybody. I mean, this is my data, and in the end, if you're honest with yourself, if you really pay attention to what you're eating, you're not only going to lose weight, but you're going to learn a lot about it as well. And things will amaze you. Like, you'll go out to eat at a restaurant where you used to, enjoy a meal, and you look at the meal and you find out, well, that, has 2,500 calories. That's your entire day's worth of calories. It's no wonder we gain weight. But paying attention to it, making it kind of a hobby, and just staying the course. It doesn't have to be a win or a lose every day. Just stick with it. Don't give up. If you have a bad day, that's fine. Own it. Enjoy it. I mean, if you're going to eat extra calories one day, just go ahead and enjoy it. But mark it down, record it, be honest with yourself, be honest with the paper that you're writing things down on, and move on. Have a better day the next day. Maybe you don't lose weight that day, but you will the next day. So just stick with it, and hope this little, maybe 17, 18-minute rant has been helpful. It's been helpful to me because it was just nice to be able to turn the camera on and get started. So that's it. That's about all I have to say. I appreciate you listening, and hope you have a good day or evening or whatever time it is in your part of the world. And we'll catch you next time.